Chosen one. If you're watching this right now, it's no coincidence. In fact, you've been guided here by something far greater than chance. Right now, at this very moment, you are on the verge of stepping into the next chapter of your divine journey. You've faced hardships, doubts, rejection, and moments when it felt like the world was against you. But you stayed strong. You held on to your faith. And now, the time has come. Your divine calling is about to unfold in a way that will amaze you. This video is for the few, the brave, and the faithful, those who have endured and remained steadfast on their journey to fulfill their higher purpose. If you've ever felt like you were meant for something greater, this is your sign. The universe is aligning, and God's plan for you is just beginning to reveal itself. So, if you're ready for a transformation, if you're ready to leave behind the old and step into the divine peace and love that awaits you, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment with the number 99 to amplify this powerful energy. There are moments in life that feel different, almost as if the universe is pushing us in a specific direction. It's like we're walking down a path we didn't choose, but somehow it feels right. It's as if we've been chosen for something greater. Now, the idea of being chosen by God can seem like a grand, almost mystical concept. But it's also deeply personal, and it's a journey that many of us go through without even realizing it. There's a powerful sense of purpose that comes with it, something that stirs inside us, telling us that we're meant to do more than just exist. We're meant to live with intention. So what does it mean to be chosen? For many people, it's not about some big dramatic event or calling. It's more subtle. It's the quiet whisper in your heart that guides you. It's those moments when things fall into place unexpectedly, or when you find yourself in a place you never thought you'd be. But somehow, it just feels like the right spot. This is the divine guidance in action, the gentle nudge from a higher power, steering you towards something meaningful. For some, this journey begins with what we call a spiritual awakening. It's like waking up from a deep sleep, where suddenly you see the world in a completely new light. The mundane starts to feel magical. Everyday moments hold deeper meaning. Things that used to feel like coincidences begin to feel like signs. You start to understand that there's a force at work behind the scenes, and you're no longer just a passive observer of your life. You're an active participant in something much larger than yourself. This awakening is not always easy. It can feel uncomfortable at first, like your whole world is shifting under your feet. The familiar becomes unfamiliar, and you may even feel a little lost. But that's the beauty of it. It's in those moments of uncertainty that you discover who you truly are. You uncover strengths you didn't know you had, and you learn to trust a process that isn't always immediately clear. This is part of the journey of being chosen by God, to step into the unknown, to trust that you are where you need to be, even when it doesn't make sense. It's not just about finding your purpose either. It's about learning to live out that purpose with faith and courage. It's understanding that being chosen isn't a one-time event, but an ongoing process. You might have moments where everything clicks, where you feel incredibly aligned with your destiny, but then there are those moments of doubt and confusion. That's normal. What's important is that you keep moving forward, keep trusting in the divine guidance that has gotten you this far. And here's where it gets interesting. As you walk this path, you'll start to realize that there is a bigger picture unfolding. It's not always about what's happening in your life right now. It's about how the moments, the people, and the experiences you encounter are all interconnected. You might not understand why certain things are happening as they are, but over time, you begin to see how each step brings you closer to fulfilling your purpose. And then, there's something that often happens on this journey that can be hard to accept at first: the wait. It's during the moments when you feel like you're on the edge of something great, yet nothing seems to be happening, that your faith is truly tested. It can feel frustrating, like you're stuck in a holding pattern, waiting for something to change. But here's the thing, those moments are just as important as the ones where everything is moving forward. Embracing divine timing is one of the hardest, yet most transformative aspects of this journey. It's easy to think that if things aren't happening right now, then they never will. We're a society that thrives on instant results, on immediate gratification. But trusting in God's timing means letting go of that control, surrendering to a plan that might not unfold on our timeline, but on a much greater one. Divine timing teaches us patience. It reminds us that everything happens for a reason, and everything has its moment. That job opportunity, that relationship, that dream you're chasing, it's all coming. But it might not come when you think it should. The key is to trust that when the time is right, everything will fall into place. It's about believing that you're not behind schedule, that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. In fact, it's in these waiting periods that we grow the most. Patience is a form of faith. When we're in that holding pattern, we're being shaped and prepared for the next chapter. It's like a seed in the ground. Just because it's not visible doesn't mean it isn't growing. And when the time is right, it will sprout, bloom, and thrive in ways you never imagined. The beauty of divine timing is that it always aligns with what's best for us, even when we can't see it. The things we think we want right now might not be the things that are actually meant for us. There's a greater plan at work, one that's guided by love, wisdom, and care. And when you begin to trust that, when you surrender to that truth, you can rest in the knowledge that everything is happening just as it should. In the moments of waiting, it's easy to fall into frustration or doubt. But instead, try to see it as an opportunity to grow deeper in your faith. When you trust the process, when you let go of the need to control the outcome, you start to experience peace in a way you never thought possible. Divine timing is a reminder that life is not a race. It's not about speeding through to the next milestone. It's about enjoying the journey, trusting that the path you're on is leading you exactly where you need to go. When you look back on your life, you'll see how each moment, each delay, and each waiting period was part of a larger plan that led you to where you are now. And maybe, just maybe, you'll realize that those waiting times were the most important parts of your journey. They were where your faith grew, where you learned patience, and where you truly began to understand that everything happens in its perfect time. So when you find yourself in that waiting phase, remember this: you're not being ignored, you're being prepared. And just like the perfect timing of a sunrise or the changing of seasons, your moment will come. Until then, trust the process, stay faithful, and know that you are being guided every step of the way. In life, it's easy to get caught up in what others think of us. We live in a world where opinions fly fast and loud, and for some, those opinions feel like weighty chains around the soul. Imagine for a moment being someone who feels deep in your heart that you're destined for something bigger, something that may not fit into the conventional mold of success or acceptance. You've felt that calling, something deeper, more spiritual, a sense of being chosen. But with that sense of purpose comes something else, something unexpected: mockery. When you start to embrace your unique journey, when you step out and follow a path that doesn't always make sense to the outside world, you're bound to face ridicule. It's as if the universe throws a mirror at you, reflecting back all the insecurities and doubts you may have about your worth and your mission. And it's painful, isn't it? You may find yourself wondering if you're crazy or if everyone else is right. People may doubt you, criticize you, or tell you that you're chasing some impossible dream. It's almost like they're trying to shake you off the path you feel so strongly about. But here's the thing. If you've ever been mocked for being different, for believing in something bigger than yourself, or for following a purpose that others can't understand, you're not alone. Every chosen individual faces ridicule at some point in their journey. It's part of the process. If you look at history, at the people who have changed the world in profound ways, you'll see that they all faced the harsh sting of mockery. It didn't stop them, it fueled them. Take, for example, the great spiritual leaders and visionaries who came before us. They were often seen as outcasts, as people who didn't fit into society's neatly crafted boxes. Yet, they persevered. Why? Because they had a fire in their hearts that couldn't be extinguished by the opinions of others. They understood that mockery and rejection were just part of the story. They didn't let those voices deter them. Instead, they allowed the criticism to sharpen their resolve, to strengthen their faith, and to push them even further toward their divine purpose. When you face ridicule, it's easy to feel like giving up. But it's in these moments of doubt, when the world questions your path, that you can tap into a deeper strength. You can remind yourself that the path you're walking is not always meant to be understood by others. Your calling is personal and unique, and sometimes people can't grasp it because it's not their journey, it's yours. They may be mocking what they don't understand, or they may be projecting their own fears onto you. But none of that diminishes the truth that's in your heart. In these moments, you have a choice. You can let their words defeat you, or you can rise above them. When you choose to rise, when you allow that mockery to fuel your fire instead of extinguishing it, you start to see a shift within yourself. You develop a level of resilience that can't be shaken. You realize that every challenge, every ridicule, and every ounce of doubt is simply preparing you for something greater. And let's talk about those struggles for a moment. Because let's face it, if you're being chosen for something greater, the journey is rarely smooth. It's often riddled with hardships, setbacks, and challenges that make you question everything. The road to spiritual growth is not a straight line. It's more like a winding, sometimes rocky path that requires you to dig deep and push through when all you want to do is give up. But here's the beautiful part. Those struggles aren't random. They're not obstacles thrown in your path just to make your life harder. They're part of the divine plan. Each challenge is a lesson, each hardship a stepping stone toward your greater purpose. When you face struggles, it's easy to wonder why life has to be so hard. Why must you go through pain, loss, or confusion? But the truth is, those very struggles are what are shaping you into the person you need to become to fulfill your divine purpose. Think of it this way. Every challenge you face is like a weight that builds your spiritual muscles. Without resistance, there's no growth. Just like lifting weights at the gym makes your muscles stronger, the trials and tribulations in your life make your spirit stronger. The difficult times are where you find your inner power, where you discover that you have a resilience that can withstand the toughest storms. It's through hardship that you learn to lean on faith. It's through struggle that you begin to understand that you're not walking this path alone. Even in the darkest moments, when you feel completely defeated, there's always divine guidance. The struggles are teaching you how to trust, how to surrender, and how to grow. They're helping you step into the person you were always meant to be. Without these moments of challenge, you would not be prepared for the greatness that awaits you. And when you look back on those struggles, as difficult as they may have been, you'll see how each one played a crucial role in your spiritual growth. They weren't just obstacles. They were invitations to become stronger, wiser, and more connected to your higher purpose. Every hardship you've faced has equipped you with tools that you'll use later on to help others, to inspire others, and to fulfill the purpose you've been chosen for. The most beautiful thing about the divine purpose behind struggles is that they don't last forever. They may seem overwhelming in the moment, but there's always a breakthrough on the other side. The weight that once felt unbearable becomes lighter over time. The pain that once seemed unending eventually fades, and in its place you discover a deeper sense of peace and purpose. Struggles don't define you, they refine you. They polish you into the person you're meant to be. So if you're facing mockery, rejection, or hardship right now, remember this: it's all part of the process. You're being shaped, refined, and prepared for something greater. Every challenge, every mocking comment, and every struggle you face is building you up in ways you may not see yet. Trust that the journey you're on is leading you exactly where you need to be. And when you come through the other side, you'll stand taller, stronger, and more connected to your divine purpose than ever before. Keep going. Transformation is one of those things that you can't truly understand until you're in the middle of it. It's the kind of change that doesn't happen overnight. It's not a quick fix or a sudden shift. It's a gradual evolution. For the chosen ones, this transformation is both profound and sacred. It's not just about becoming who you were meant to be on the outside. It's about a deep internal shift that impacts your very being. It's about stepping into your true potential, the version of you that has always been there, waiting for the right time to emerge. The process of spiritual transformation begins with an awakening. It's like peeling back layers of yourself that you didn't even know existed. At first, it may feel a little uncomfortable. It's as if you're stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't quite fit yet, like a coat that's just a little too big or too small. But with time, as you continue to walk your path, you start to see the pieces come together. Your spiritual growth isn't just about finding a purpose, it's about aligning with that purpose so deeply that it becomes who you are at your core. It's a journey of uncovering the divine potential that's always been inside you. What does that feel like exactly? Well, imagine waking up one day and realizing that you've been living on autopilot all this time, and now you're fully awake, fully aware of your surroundings, your choices, and your power. It's like seeing the world in a different light. You begin to realize that everything you've been through, the hardships, the challenges, the victories, they were all part of preparing you for this moment of transformation. You shed old identities, old beliefs, and outdated ways of thinking, and you step into a higher state of being. The transformation process isn't easy. It requires letting go of old patterns, old fears, and limiting beliefs. It means stepping away from the familiar and embracing the unknown with trust and courage. The more you evolve spiritually, the more you begin to feel the weight of the world's distractions falling away. You feel lighter, freer, and more connected to something greater than yourself. It's not just about changing your actions, it's about changing the way you see the world and your place in it. As you move into this higher state, you start to live in alignment with your divine purpose. Your choices are more intentional, your actions more aligned with your spiritual truth. And here's where it gets even more profound. When you step into this new state of being, you begin to understand the deeper, more spiritual truth of life. You start to realize that the things that once seemed so important, the material possessions, the status, the approval of others, they no longer hold the same weight. There's a deep peace in knowing that the real treasures are found within, and that's when the process of letting go of the material world begins. Letting go of the material world isn't about renouncing everything you own or living in complete isolation. It's about detaching from the constant pull of external distractions that keep you from experiencing true peace. It's about recognizing that worldly possessions, as nice as they are, don't define your worth or bring lasting fulfillment. When you begin to detach from these things, you make room for something far greater, the divine realm. This process isn't as easy as it sounds, especially in a world that constantly tells you that more is better. The more you have, the more successful you are, right? But in reality, the more you acquire, the more you can become attached to those things, and the more your focus shifts away from your higher purpose. Letting go doesn't mean rejecting the material world entirely. It means placing it in its proper perspective. You begin to see that true abundance comes not from what you have, but from who you are and how deeply connected you are to the divine. In this space of detachment, you discover a level of peace and contentment that can't be bought. You begin to focus less on what you don't have and more on what you already possess spiritually. You start to see that the greatest treasures lie in love, faith, compassion, and connection. These things aren't fleeting, they are eternal. And as you detach from the material, you make space for the divine to fill your life with a peace that surpasses all understanding. But as you start to embrace this new, higher state of being, you may encounter something that is often the hardest part of the journey: rejection from those closest to you. When you begin to evolve spiritually, there's often a disconnection from the world you once knew. This can include friends, family, and loved ones who don't understand the changes you're going through. It's not uncommon for them to question your choices, your beliefs, or even your entire path. They may not understand why you're walking away from things that once seemed so important, and they may try to hold you back or pull you back into the familiar. This can be one of the most emotionally challenging aspects of being chosen. The rejection from loved ones can cut deep. After all, these are the people who have known you the longest, and their approval has likely meant a lot to you. So, when they don't understand your spiritual path, it can feel like a personal betrayal. You may find yourself torn between your desire to honor your divine path and your desire to be accepted by the people who've always been a part of your life. But here's the truth. Following your divine purpose is not always going to be understood by everyone around you. And that's okay. The emotional and spiritual challenges of facing rejection are real. It's painful to be misunderstood, especially by those you love. But this too is part of the journey. As you continue to grow and evolve spiritually, you begin to see that your divine purpose isn't about seeking validation from others. It's about being true to yourself and trusting that the people who are meant to be in your life will understand, eventually. The ones who love you will see your heart, even if they don't fully grasp your path right now. The beauty of this part of the journey is that it teaches you how to stand firm in your truth, regardless of what others think. It's a lesson in unconditional love, not just for others, but for yourself. You learn to accept that some people may not be able to come with you on your path, and that's okay. Their journey is different, and your divine path is meant to guide you to places you may have never imagined. It's also a reminder that sometimes the ones who reject you are simply projecting their own fears or doubts. Your transformation might stir something in them that they are not ready to face. It's not a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their own journey. And in time, they may come to understand and even respect your choices. At the end of the day, this spiritual journey is yours. It's about stepping into your true self, embracing the divine realm, and following the path that you've been chosen for. You may face rejection, you may experience emotional turmoil, but each step brings you closer to the peace and fulfillment you've always longed for. Trust the process, stay true to your divine purpose, and know that, in time, the pieces will come together in ways you never expected. Surrender is one of those concepts that can be incredibly difficult to grasp, especially for those of us who are used to controlling every aspect of our lives. In a world where we're taught to work hard, make plans, and ensure that everything is just right, the idea of surrendering can feel counterintuitive. But the sacred act of surrendering to God's plan is not about giving up. It's about letting go of the need to control everything and trusting that a higher power has something far greater in store for you. Surrender isn't a passive action. It's an active choice to release the pressure we put on ourselves to have all the answers. It's about accepting that we can't control every outcome, every event, or every person we meet along the way. But what we can control is how we respond to life. We can choose to trust, to let go of fear, and to believe that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. When we surrender, we release the burden of trying to manage every detail, and in doing so, we create space for divine guidance to lead us where we need to go. Think of it this way: you're in a river, trying to swim against the current. The harder you try to swim, the more exhausted you become. But when you let go and allow the current to carry you, you suddenly find yourself moving with ease, flowing where the river wants to take you. That's what surrender feels like. It's letting go of your own will and trusting that God's plan is not only bigger, but also more beautiful than anything you could have imagined for yourself. Surrender doesn't mean that we stop taking action or that we give up on our goals. It simply means that we stop trying to control every outcome. We let go of the anxiety that comes from needing everything to go according to our plan, and we step into a place of peace, knowing that we are always being guided. Surrender is a deep act of faith, and it requires trust, the trust that even in moments of uncertainty, there is a higher purpose at work. And yet, there are moments when our faith is tested, when doubts creep in and challenge everything we thought we knew. It's easy to trust when things are going well, but what about when life gets tough? When the world around us doubts, ridicules, or even mocks our journey, it can be hard to hold on to faith. We may question whether we're truly on the right path, or whether God's plan is even real. So, how do we strengthen our faith in those moments? First, we have to remember that doubts are a natural part of the human experience. Every great figure who followed a divine calling has faced moments of uncertainty. Doubt doesn't mean that your faith is weak. It simply means you're human. The key is to acknowledge the doubt without letting it consume you. Don't be afraid to question, but don't let those questions lead you away from your purpose. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your faith is through prayer and reflection. It's during the quiet moments of prayer that you invite God's presence into your life. Prayer isn't just about asking for things, it's about creating space for guidance, for reassurance, and for peace. When you pray, speak from your heart, sharing your fears and your hopes. Ask for strength when doubts arise and trust that your prayers are being heard. And if you're not sure what to pray for, simply ask for the grace to trust. Another way to strengthen your faith is to surround yourself with people who uplift and support you. While you may encounter ridicule and misunderstanding from some, there are others who share your faith and will remind you of the divine purpose you're walking toward. Find communities of like-minded individuals who encourage you to keep going, even when it's hard. Sometimes, just hearing someone else's testimony of faith can spark your own belief when you need it most. In addition, it's essential to look back on your past experiences and recognize how far you've come. Think of the times in your life when you faced challenges and how you were able to overcome them, even when it seemed impossible. Those moments are proof that God has always been with you, guiding you, even when you didn't realize it. When you reflect on your journey, you start to see that you've never been alone. This understanding strengthens your faith, helping you realize that even in times of doubt, God's presence is ever near. Now let's talk about something deeply beautiful, the power of divine love. When you're walking the path of the chosen, it's easy to feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You may face moments of isolation, fear, and doubt, but there is something extraordinary that carries you through every challenge: divine love. The love of God is not just a feeling, it's a protective, nurturing force that envelops you, strengthens you, and guides you through life's most difficult moments. Divine love isn't something we have to earn. It's freely given, always present, and always ready to surround us with peace. It's a love that doesn't judge, doesn't condemn, and doesn't leave us in our darkest hour. When you step into your purpose, when you surrender to the divine plan, you open yourself up to this boundless love. It's like a warm embrace that calms the storm in your heart and gives you the courage to keep moving forward. This love protects you from harm, both physically and spiritually. It's the shield that guards you when the world feels harsh, and it's the foundation that supports you when you're feeling weak. When you face rejection, mockery, or trials, it's this love that reminds you that you are never alone. You are held in the arms of something much greater than yourself. Divine love also guides you. When you feel lost or uncertain about your path, it's this love that lights the way. It's not always a clear, loud voice you hear, but it's the gentle whispers in your heart that direct you, reassuring you that you're on the right track. This love is the compass that keeps you aligned with your true purpose, even when the world around you tries to lead you astray. And perhaps most importantly, divine love helps you to grow. It's a nurturing love that doesn't let you stay where you are, but encourages you to become the best version of yourself. It's a love that challenges you to rise above your fears, to forgive yourself and others, and to step into your highest calling with confidence. So, when doubts arise, when the road gets tough, remember this: you are loved. You are deeply, unconditionally loved by the Creator, who has a purpose for your life. This love is a constant, unwavering presence in your life, even when you can't feel it. And with this love, you can find the strength to face any challenge, to overcome any obstacle, and to keep moving forward in faith, knowing that everything is unfolding for your greater good. Surrender, faith, and divine love are all intertwined. The more you surrender to God's plan, the more your faith is strengthened, and the more you can tap into the transformative power of divine love. Trust in this process. Trust that with each step, you are being guided towards something beautiful and powerful, something that is far greater than anything you could ever imagine. Manifesting your divine purpose starts with living intentionally, meaning you make every decision with the awareness that you are aligning yourself with God's will. It's about being conscious of your actions, thoughts, and emotions so that they all reflect your higher calling. It's not about rushing to the end goal, but instead trusting that God's plan is unfolding perfectly, even if you can't see the full picture yet. When you live intentionally, you're actively creating space for your divine purpose to manifest. Divine signs are messages from God, guiding you along the way. These signs can appear in different forms. You might feel a sense of peace when you make the right decision, notice synchronicities, things falling into place at the right time, or receive inner nudges that push you to take certain actions. These aren't coincidences, they're divine signals. By paying attention to these signs and trusting your intuition, you're aligning with your purpose and God's guidance. Faith is the foundation of everything. When you have faith, you believe that God is guiding you and that His plan is for your ultimate good. It gives you the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and trust that things will work out, even if they don't seem to make sense in the moment. Faith transforms you because it helps you see challenges as opportunities for growth and opens you up to divine intervention. When you trust in God's plan, you invite miracles into your life. Your faith allows you to move forward with confidence, knowing that each step is bringing you closer to the life you're meant to lead.